What's up, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. And today we're going to be talking about mixing. So how do I mix my beat? What are some things I worry about? So how do I do my gain staging? Do I use sidechain at all? Probably you have crafted an amazing beat right now, but it's just not sounding right. Don't worry, that's where mixing comes in. So in this video we're going to be diving deep into essential aspects of mixing for your beats and to help you achieve like just a more professional sounding mix at the end of the day, like you hear on some records out of there. Okay, let's start with setting up your mix. So important is just to know where everything is. So how you do it, that's like up to you. But for me, I'm on FL right now. I don't really care about that. I just throw everything into the mix and start mixing right away. So what I can also recommend is using a reference track. Basically, you just grab a beat that you really like from a record out there. Let's say you like a Metro Boomin song or whatever, and you just get the official instrumental or the official beat. That's basically very important. You don't want a beat that's mixed by someone else. And then you can balance your loudness based on that track. That will help you a lot. Let's talk about the basics of mixing really quick. So you're going to be using panning if you like to with your drums, like especially with hi-hats. I really love doing it sometimes because it just will create more space and depth in your mix. The most important thing that you will be doing for beats, probably the only thing is the EQ, and what I like doing as well is some volume automation towards the end of the song, or just to get the sample fading out basically. But you can use it also on your drums if you want to. It depends on your technique and what you like to achieve at the end of the day. And then you can also have some reverb and delay on certain drums or samples if you like to, and use compression if you made the sample yourself. That's like the place where you can use compression and just to control some of those dynamics that might come up with that. I would say let's not waste much more time than we already have. I will get straight into it. I will show you everything on how I do it, and hopefully you can learn something from a project that I actually made today. So we'll just be setting up everything back on track and I will mix it for you in front of here. So let's get straight into the project. Okay, we are now inside of FL. I'll play the beat for you. I will just get rid of everything that we already have mixed, and let's see how everything sounds together. Okay, so the first thing that we'll be doing is put something on the master just to not clip, because if we play it, it doesn't sound good at all. Especially we have to avoid clipping. So I'm using just the TR5 classic clipper for that. You can use the soft clipper, that's basically the same. I just got this new plugin a while ago and I really like it, so quite easy to understand. You have two presets here, the digital clip and the soft clip. So that's just the difference with the slope. And that's what I put on my master, there's nothing else. Then I start from my kick. So my kick is the most important thing because I like the kick to be in the front. So I want the kick to be like in front of everything, and I want the kick to be like the main point that gives the groove and gives everything else. I start with the kick, I mute everything else. So we can see the kick is quite loud, and I put EQs on everything. So this is my EQ to get rid of the sub. I usually cut everything under 30-40 hertz. Take a little bit out that's left and remove some of the highs. So this is how my kick sounds like. Then I will just turn it a little bit down. So I usually like my kick at around -1 dB. Then move on with the 808. I just throw EQs on every sound. I don't do any big processing with my drums if it's not needed, because sound selection is still the most important thing at the end of the day. So think of that before you just get and try to make something happen that will not come about if you don't have great sounds. Just low, just a high cut, get rid of the frequencies we don't need in 808 basically. I like the 808 staying around here, so it goes pretty well with the kick. My goal here is just like to have the 808 and the kick still kicking hard, but I want the kick on top of the 808 because the kick is the main instrument. So I want it to be like on top of everything, and then I want the 808 to give it that groove and the depth to the kick. Then I usually jump to the clap. So I usually like the clap and the 808 being at around the same level. I don't really rely on the meters on the side, to be honest, because it just varies a lot from every sound. So I don't have like a specific target I'm trying to hit every time, and that's why I just listen by ear and see if it sounds good or not. Then I usually go to the hi-hats, and I want the hi-hats a little bit in the background of those. So we can definitely hear the hi-hats right now, but they are not the main instrument, because I think a lot of mistakes are done when the hi-hats are too loud. That will make the beat so harsh it will be impossible to listen to it without your ears hurting. So be careful with the high frequencies especially. After I do like the 4 main elements, next thing is like just get into the percussion elements that doesn't have to be on front. So let's start with the bat as I used here. So that's clearly way too loud. And I will show you what I put on everything. So the bat has this EQ pattern, basically the perk almost the same, so I just like taking out some of the highs. As you noticed, I didn't even put something on the second perk. So this is the shaker, I didn't put anything on there, and I didn't put anything on the open head. So you see, if you have a good sound selection, you don't need an EQ on everything. You can do it, it won't hurt anybody, but I just like putting things in if I really have the feel I need to. And then I usually go inside of the melody and see how everything sounds like. So that's basically it, and I do the drums first and then I add the melody to it, because the melody is like not the most important thing. We want the drums, everything on top, and then at the end we want the melody to be added. So I just turn it down and see when it fits in perfectly, so I have like that really hard hitting drums but still a nice melody that's clearly hearable in the background. And for transitions, if you use them, just pull them back as much as possible, so you don't want them hitting too hard, because you want still that wow effect when the drums comes in. So I'll play it with the transition that I got here. So you can hear it, it's quiet in the background. I'll just play the melody and the transition. You probably will feel it definitely, but you won't be listening to it like right away. And what I did on the melody, of course, this is very important. Remove the low end, so we have some low end, and I just took some of the highs because we got some vocals playing in the first part. So I just removed some of the low end to give room for our kick and 808, and some of the highs just because I didn't want that vocal to be too loud. And a Valhalla vintage verb just to give it some more room, some more presence, so it feels like a complete package in this beat. And now we can listen to the complete beat. Okay guys, so I hope you could learn something. Just to recap everything, basically everything starts with the sound selection. You don't need to worry about too many stuff that's out there. You don't need a lot of compressors, you don't need things you don't even know how to use. So especially if you're just a beat maker or just making a beat, you don't need to worry about, yeah, I need to put this limiter with this settings on to make it sound hard, because every beat's various, so every setting that you might put on will be different for each beat. What I recommend is just use simple things that you understand. Use a soft clipper on the master or a limiter that basically just pushes everything up and makes sure you're not clipping. That's important. Do not clip if you're not wanting to. 99% of the time you don't want to be clipping. And some other things you have to keep in mind: for the drums, you don't need a lot of effect. You can do a special bus for it if you want to, just to be able to turn them up and down all together if you want. But most of the time you just need the EQ to just finesse some little things here and there and make them even better than they already are. But you've seen an example I just showed, even when we played the beat in the first part without anything, it still sounded good because the sound selection was done well, especially in this beat. So keep in mind, just put something on the master to not clip. It can be a soft clipper or a limiter. And as far as the drums goes, put some EQ on it. You can play with delay and some reverb on the hi-hats if you like to, but I wouldn't do too much because simplicity is key, and this is just like the best tutorial to show you how to mix a simple beat. And this is exactly something I would be sending out, because if you get the placement, either way they will be mixing it with mixing engineer. You will be sending the stems to everything, so it will be remixed either way. You just have to make sure it sounds good when they first listen to it and it hits hard when they listen to it in the studio, so they actually pick it and you get the placement or you get a sale on BeatStars. Doesn't even matter. I hope you're all having a great day, and if you want to support this channel, please leave a like and subscribe, and see you next time.